Welcome to Tough Times Radio with Tom, the homeless teacher, on WELE 1380 The Cat, the radio show where we educate you, we inspire you, and we definitely piss you off. I'm your host, Tom Redman, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mia. Hi, Mia.
Hey, Tom.
You like that intro, don't you? I see you smiling over there. So Mia's here to keep me on track, and tonight we have a great show for you. But before I get into who we have and everything tonight, I want to tell you, if it's the first time you've joined us, that Tough Times Radio was born out of my desire to educate the communities all throughout Florida on the truths of homelessness and poverty. I'm a Florida teacher who voluntarily lived homeless for over 3 months in 13 cities across America. I've been advocating for the homeless ever since I learned the truths of homelessness through the eyes of the needy. Our goal today is to talk about tiny homes and how they fit into plans, and we're going to have Mr. Elvis Summers, Mia, and he is from Los Angeles, and I'll tell you more about him. But before I do, I want to tell you, if you're a nonprofit and you're joining us via www.1380thecat.com, you can have us in your city. Mia, we're already in 2 cities in 7 weeks. That's pretty amazing, wouldn't you say? Vero Beach and here.
Absolutely. Hello, Vero Beach.
Yeah, it's Vero Beach, actually.
Vero Beach.
And it's WTTB 105.7 FM or 1490 in Vero. Welcome to the Homeless Teacher Network, Vero Beach. We're glad to have you. If you want to call our show, the call-in number is 386-523-1380. And we're going to give you a chance to call in to either ask our guest a question, or if you want to ask me a question or challenge me on anything, feel free to do that. And as I said before, today's guest is Mr. Elvis Summers, and his project is called A Tiny House, A Huge Purpose. And you may remember Elvis, Mia. He was the guy that built that little tiny home out in front of his house that got national attention. And since then, well, I'll let him tell about all his accomplishments when he calls in, but he's doing an amazing job, and we're going to have him. We also have Linda McIntyre, who is the Volusia County Council District 4 candidate that's going to be joining us today. How about that, Mia? Actually, we have a county council candidate that's willing to come on the show. That's pretty scary, isn't it?
It is.
It is actually pretty scary. So first thing we do every show is we do what we call the repeating mistakes segment. And what we do in that segment is we highlight what's happening in the city and county in regards to them developing a viable plan to end the homeless. And the reason we call it repeating mistakes is because, you know, what cities do is they do the same stupid stuff that other cities do. And so we like to highlight that. Harold, can you get those 2 clips ready? The first thing we're going to play here, Mia, is basically we're going to talk about Hope Place is what we're going to talk about, and that's that new family shelter that they're trying to put where Hearst Elementary was in Daytona Beach, Florida. And what we're going to play first is the reaction from a meeting. What this meeting is basically the residents are upset because what's happening is that Hope Place kind of came about very fast in like 5 months. And so we don't normally see the city and the county working together. We don't normally see that. And somehow in 5 months, the Halifax Urban Ministries, the nonprofit, without any bid, without any buy-in from the residents, and against zoning recommendations of the county council, got pushed through. And the residents are being told, and I want you to hear, this is like a minute of the meeting that took place.
The question is, do we have a say in this, or is it already done and over with?
No, this is part of the process. This is the beginning point that's why we wanted to have this neighborhood community meeting, not only to speak to our intentions, but to begin a dialogue And
The intentions are already made, right?
sure, I mean, it's our desire to place Hope Place Family Shelter in this building, obviously.
Correct. So it doesn't matter what we think in this neighborhood, it's already being done.
No, of course it matters. We're very concerned.
How many people you got outside that can't come in to understand what's going on?
Where are we getting everything just done?
Why are the council?
Don't you think you put the park?
No, I would,
What's the process? When you put the family.
I would encourage you to pay attention to other public meetings.
Now, I don't know if you heard the end of that, Mia, but here's what happened at the end. That was Timothy Mann, who is one of the board of directors at Halifax Urban Ministries at the end. And what he told him was it was kind of their fault because they didn't pay attention to public meetings. So I don't think it's the Hearst residents' fault. You know, if you're going to build a project, I would think what you would do is go get residents buy-in if you're going to put it in their community. Wouldn't you think that, Mia?
Yeah, it's everything is backwards.
And you know, when you let's go. Hey, Harold, can you cue up the clip of Mark Gialis? This is the executive director of Halifax Urban Ministries, and what he said about the Hope Place project and what it is.
Hope Place Community Family Center is so important to our community. There's 2,300 children registered in Volusia County schools that are homeless. 180 of those kids are students without a family, and we want to help all of those children and their families at Hope Place Community Center. We will have about room for 40 families, about 170 to 180 people will be able to come there just to get stabilized as we work to rehouse them. We want to have all the services available there for them to enjoy the 15 acres and a community garden, medical and mental health services, counseling, a VPK for the families. Palmer College may even put in a chiropractic clinic there. And these will be available not only to our guests who are trying to escape homelessness and rebuild their life, but they'll be available to people from the community if they're willing to use them. We want to help not just our guests, but everybody.
And that was Mark Gialis. And the reason that I played that clip, Mia, was I want to highlight a couple of things that he said there. First of all, you know, what's happening over there, Harold? First thing is that, you know, he said they're going to house 40 families, and so we do have a current shortfall in family shelter beds right now.
We do.
But what he leaves out of that is we currently house 38 families in the current STAR shelter, so that's an increase of a grand total of 2. So we're going to spend $5 million, and we're going to house 2 additional families. Now, he did say there's 180 unaccompanied youth, and they are going to be serving unaccompanied youth at the new Hope Place that they don't at the Star Center. That is a very true statement. I have to say this. You know, when somebody gets given $5 million and there's no competitive bidding, and we don't tell anybody, and we do it against what the zoning recommendations say, and we all know here in Volusia County, the county and the city don't work together. So I have to tell you, this is an opinion, and this is my opinion. Nobody else that's on this show, nor is this the opinion of the radio station. This is the opinion of Tom Redman. The only reason this was a $5 million buy-off to get services out of downtown. That's all it was. And I don't know if you know, but they've already moved the Goodwill Jobs Center out of downtown. That's up there. Where's that at? It's up off of Nova and
ISB.
ISB there. And so they moved that out of downtown, and now they have the Star Center out of the downtown area, you know, off of North Street, and they're going to move that up, you know, where the old Hearst building is. And this all happens without all the experts that are telling them not to do these things. This happens without anybody holding anybody in check. And so, Mia, what I'm highlighting here tonight is this: that basically we need to do business right, and we do need more family shelter beds. There's no question. I would say that Hope Place is needed, but I will say this. I think it should be competitively bid on because I can't get statistics that match for Halifax Urban Ministries. If I go on their website, it says something different than it says on GuideStar than is said in meetings. And so that's what's confusing me. I keep asking them very, very simple questions, Mia. And you tell me, because you're here to keep me in check, if I'm way off. I would say that if what's happening is people are staying a long time in your family shelter, it's not a good family shelter. Is that accurate, you think?
From my experience,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
It's a bad
so
thing.
it is a bad thing because you want turnaround in your shelter. You want getting people out of homelessness as quickly as possible, solving their problems and getting them out. Now, I want to know from Halifax Urban Ministries, how many families did they kick out last year that got to the 6 month? Well, I'll just tell you what happened. You know, Mia, I was down there talking to a lady. She has a child. She's getting ready to be kicked out.
Why?
She's almost at her 6 month point. But guess what? They don't have any money to help these families rehouse. I've heard that over and over from many families that are currently in the Star Shelter. And you know, the thing is what they do is they don't understand that because I lived homeless, they may not understand it, but I have a lot of allies on the street. I know a lot of people that are houseless. I come see those people constantly, and so I know what is happening. And so the reason I'm bringing all this up, and I see that is Miss McIntyre here?
Yes.
Can we get her in the
She's
studio? Yeah, Miss McIntyre was a little late joining us. B, do we have Elvis ready to go? Has he called in yet? Anyway, we're going to get Miss McIntyre in the studio, but let me get back to what I was saying, B. And that is that we need statistics that mean something. We need to know how many families have been gotten out of homelessness, how much it costs. We need to know what the length of people are staying in the home shelter, because that's a measure of success. How many people they turn away is a measure of success. Where the people on the waiting list are waiting, that's a big measure of success. You know, so we just need to get some statistics. Now, I will tell you, Mia, I have a surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right, because today I got an email from the Continuum of Care, and they're looking for officers for the Continuum of Care, president, vice president, secretary, and so I'm going to fill that out, and of course I'm going to apply. I don't know that I'll get voted in. I doubt that I will, but I'm still going to apply, Mia.
Great.
Hey, welcome, Linda.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And this is Miss Linda McIntyre. And you got here, Linda, just in time for us to go to break pretty soon. But we were talking about the Hearst Family Shelter, and we'll get into more about that, because we should be having Mr. Elvis Summers on the phone, and you can join in the conversation anywhere you see fit. But when we get toward the end of the show, we'll get to you directly, okay? And so back to what we were talking about, you know, people think that I have some vendetta, but there is no vendetta. I fight for the needs of the homeless person, and that's in the city of Jacksonville, the city of Sarasota, the city of Leesburg, the city of Daytona, the city of, I could go on and on and on, because I go to every city I can drive to. And, you know, the bottom line is this, okay? They don't know what they're dealing with, and we're going to teach them. This is Tom the Homeless Teacher. We'll be right back with more Tough Times Radio.
We're all affected by homelessness. whether you've been there yourself or have neighbors living on your sidewalks. Homelessness is not acceptable, and the National Coalition for Homeless needs you to add your voice to the millions standing up for housing and economic justice. Visit www.nationalhomeless.org to learn more, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/National Coalition for the Homeless, or Twitter at NTL_homeless. Contribute, advocate, reach out and educate. Join us at ending the epidemic of homelessness in America. What do you have there, Mia?
Chocolate Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots. They look real tasty. Where'd you get them from?
I got them from Rogo's Yogurt.
Roco's Yogurt.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. It's got all sorts of yogurts in different flavors. They've got low-fat, non-fat. They've got a family-friendly atmosphere. The staff is great, and everything tastes delicious.
Rogo's Yogurt, right across the street from the News Journal Center on Beach Street.
Have you had your yogurt today?
This program was paid for by its sponsor, which is solely responsible for its content and the views expressed. WELE, Ormond Beach, 1380, The Cat.
Welcome back to Tough Times Radio with the homeless teacher. You know me, every time I hear that cat, I can't help it. I love it. And if, in case you're just joining us with me, do we have Mr. Summers on the phone yet, Harold? Is he with us? Elvis, you there?
I'm here.
Hey, hold on. Let me introduce you. I didn't know you were already on the phone. I apologize. For those of you that are just joining us, we have Miss Linda McIntyre, the Volusia County Council candidate, in studio. And we also are now joined by today's special guest, Mr. Elvis Summers, of a Tiny House, a Huge Purpose project over in Los Angeles. Hey, Elvis.
How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, well, thanks so much for being on. You know, Elvis, tonight we're kind of focusing on tiny homes, and I think you're kind of a tiny homes expert. How many have you built now?
Well, it's personally I've built 37.
Okay. And I bet, have you learned some lessons during those 37?
Oh, yeah, I've learned quite a lot.
Well, tell us your story. I'll stop interrupting. Just tell us your story, how you got started, and what you're currently doing.
Originally, I got started by building a really small tiny house for a woman named Smokey in my neighborhood. She was, 60 years old, grandmother sleeping in the dirt, and I just wanted to help her out. As I kind of put some videos out there and started a crowdfunding to build a few more, the video started going viral and just kind of blew up, and then people just started, dumping a bunch of money on me to say, hey, go help these people. And, I jumped at the challenge. It was great. And so I've just been, smashing away, trying to, get people off the street and get them into, a temporary shelter.
There's been some bumps. There's been some real bumps in the road with Los Angeles, though, haven't there, with some confiscation and things?
Oh yeah. Bumps it's a nice G-rated term.
Okay, well, we got to kind of be G because we're on a college radio station, so.
Yeah, no worries. I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of hiccups, and it's just been a flat-out war against the city. There's just a lot of people that don't want to help, but past that, have spent a lot of tax dollars to stop me from helping people. And I get it in the beginning because just human nature. People fear things they don't understand, and with such a short attention spans, people don't really want to make the effort to go, understand something. But now it's kind of progressed a little bit. It's like people really need to start, understanding, the difference in things.
Well, I'll say, I don't know if you've heard our show before, Elvis, but we're kind of a little whacked out here on the show because we believe in people like you. And what I tell my listening audience is if I have somebody on the show, it's because they understand the most important thing about fixing homelessness, which is empathy for the people you serve.
Absolutely.
And you're in that category, and I thank you so much for what you do for the people in Los Angeles. Or I'll just say this, you either love me or you hate me, and I only have one measure. I love you or I hate you based on what you do for the people you serve. So thank you for what you do.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it. Like, I love what I do, every day. And it's, I think just as, humanity, we've just gotten a bit lost along the way of what's really important. And the only time that people really understand and get it is when you lose somebody close to you, a relative, a sibling. When somebody dies, it's like all of a sudden for that short time, when it's really hitting you, people understand, why didn't I, call them more often? Or,
right.
Why didn't I go hang out with them? All this petty stuff, it doesn't mean anything. The real important things are, love and family and friends and, not, wasting your entire life, to work, to pay for a box that we don't spend time in because we're working all day just to pay for it.
Hey, Elvis, what I say to people is, how we end homelessness, in my eyes, is we take people one person at a time. But the most important thing in my eyes are the homeless need a friend. They need somebody to help them navigate the crappy help system that our government currently has, and they need help getting benefits, and they need help getting IDs, and they need help getting prescriptions. What they need is a friend. And I tell people all the time when they ask me, should they give to panhandlers, that they should develop a relationship with somebody, not give them money. What do you think of all of that?
I completely agree. Everybody needs friends. But I think one of the most crucial steps that's missing from the entire equation to helping this whole situation is it really comes down to purpose. We all have at least one purpose in life. Go to work, take care of your kids, whatever it is. But that it drives us. It gives us something we want to do, and it just pushes us through life. But the only thing, the purpose that people living rough have is survival, and that's not, a big motivator, to go past that. And, I think if
people don't understand how difficult it is,
that empathetic side.
Yeah, to survive on the streets, because I'll tell you, when and I'll say this a million times over, I don't compare my experience of trying to live homeless with really being homeless, because I could quit at any time. But I will say this. I have to tell you that I could only see just right in front of my face, because I was just trying to survive. It was the next meal. It was the next. You can't really, after you've only slept a few hours a night and you're worried about your throat being slit and you're not eating well, and people do not realize how difficult that is on your body. And Elvis, you putting them in a place of dignity, at least that they can get inside and they can be safe,
Absolutely.
I think that goes a long way.
And the biggest misconception is that, we're creating, something to enable them to stay on the streets or, this kind of stuff. Like, the only thing that people have seen from me is only what I've been allowed to do. They were never meant to be in the streets, and it's definitely not a program to enable people. It's a bridge between the gutter and permanent housing. Even if right now, any city, your city, my city, just comes out and says, you know what, endless amounts of money, we're gonna start building all these apartments right now and get these people off the streets. That's still going to take years, and leaving people in the gutter to fend for themselves and die every night and suffer is not acceptable. So this is a viable solution to put these houses in little communities and get people into that one safe place tonight. And start the repair process of all the things they need to do to reintegrate into society while everybody is building those,
right,
more permanent housing and more shelters.
Well, Elvis, I have to ask you, because, our objective on this show is to educate. So I need to, really get right down to the brass tacks. I don't want to know what lessons you learned about building the tiny homes. I want to know what lessons you learned from people as you gave them to them, as they were taken away. Tell me what you learned through all that process.
A big part of it really comes down to just purpose and hope, and how to, how to get people to really motivate themselves. People that are homeless or houseless, as I like to say, they're normal people. They're no different, and we're no better than they are. They're just people,
Right.
that lost their place to stay, and the system is designed to keep you there once you're there. But when you give them something of their own, like, hey, here's a tiny house, you get your own key, it's a little better than what you got, and it'll
Right.
keep you safe until we get you something better. That right there. I mean, mental illnesses aside, or included, you really can't just you can't put it on a chart. You can't
Right.
measure the amount of lift that it does to a person's, like soul, to
We
just
give them
know that,
hope.
like, hey, somebody just rescued me, and
Right. When they get hope,
I'm worth
they'll
something.
do amazing things. And when I say they, I mean any human. If you give a human hope, in other words, if they don't see that they don't have a future, if they see hope, they do amazing things, humans do.
Absolutely. There's, it's within lines with the, people having a purpose. There's, if we don't provide the opportunities for change to happen, or opportunities for anybody to do anything else than what they are stuck doing right now,
Yeah.
then nothing's going to change. And
Yeah.
almost every single person that's had a drug addiction that I help will tell you flat out, I hate this. I hate myself because of it, and I would give anything to not be, addicted to these drugs.
Of course.
But I don't have the opportunity to change. I don't
And
have-
wait a minute, I got to interrupt you because what everybody says all the damn time, Elvis, that really angers me is they go, oh, well, you can go to drug treatment, but they don't understand it doesn't work that way because when they finish, where are they at? Right back on the street.
Exactly.
So what we got to do is get them stable in housing first. Wouldn't you agree with that?
No, absolutely. I completely agree. People just, want to live on the streets. And,
I hate that
the other
one.
two misconceptions, are that, that one that, they choose to be there. There is a huge difference between I want to stay on the streets and I'm going to accept the bullshit offer that you're offering me. The times that people are offered certain things, it's almost a worse place with more violence and drugs and rules that they can't have their loved ones or possessions. There's a big difference between accepting that offer, which is worse, and actually wanting to be on the street.
Well, Elvis, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, I need to ask you, can you tell us how people can reach out, find out what you're doing? Tell us your Facebook page and any information they can get to find you and help you.
Absolutely. I have two websites. The one's under the company name, which is Starting Human, like you're starting something, and human, like human being.
Right.
.org.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is the weird one. It's Mythpla. It's like the word myth.
Well, let's do this. Let's save everybody the trouble. How about we do this? We'll post it on the Homeless Teacher page, and Homeless and Hungry, and on our radio show page. Give me those links, big guy, all right?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes it really easy. And if people want to be even lazier, my name is Elvis Summers, and you can just go to Google and type
You're
in
like
my
me,
name.
man. You Google my name. Holy crap. Well, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
19 days of pages and stories and videos. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's insane. All right, man. You have a great one, Elvis. Thank you so much.
You too. Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye. Hey, if you're just joining us, that was Mr. Elvis Summers. He's building tiny homes out in Los Angeles. What'd you think of that, Linda?
I'm actually familiar with him.
Are you really?
Yes, sir, I am, because I have a lot of friends in the California area, both Northern and Southern California, and I've actually had some friends down in Southern California about a month ago send me a Google link to what he was doing, so I actually am somewhat familiar with what he's doing.
And that's County Council candidate Linda McIntyre. And if you want to join us, you can call in 386-523-1380. You can join us on Facebook at Homeless Teacher Tough Times Radio. And this is Tom Redman, the Homeless Teacher. We'll be back in a moment. Hey, this is Tom Redman, the homeless teacher, and we broadcast Tough Times each Thursday at 6 p.m. from our flagship station, WELE 1380 in gorgeous Ormond Beach, Florida. But if you're not in Daytona Beach, you can also listen to our show on WTTB, which is 105.7 FM, or 1490 AM in Vero Beach. We're coming to many more cities soon, so check our Facebook page, which is Homeless Teacher Tough Times Radio, for more information. Central Florida is on a mission. You know, it's not easy for a region to rethink an issue as big as homelessness. But for the last 3 years, Central Florida has been on a journey to shift the momentum in favor of change. It's happening, and they need your help. Go to www.rethinkhomelessness.org. You can advocate, you can donate, you can volunteer. Get involved. Central Florida is on a mission. You know, it's not easy for a region to rethink an issue as big as homelessness. But for the last 3 years, Central Florida has been on a journey to shift the momentum in favor of change. It's happening, and they need your help. Go to www.rethinkhomelessness.org. You can advocate, you can donate, you can volunteer. Get involved. Become a freedom fighter. Join the ACLU. Did you know over 458,000 people support the ACLU in the United States? That's because people across the country are coming together to stand for what they believe is right. Take a stand for what you believe in. Join the ACLU today. With your help, we can do all kinds of things. Go to www.action.aclu.org. Hey, if you're not aware, the Daytona Beach Festival of Magic, the 16th annual, is going to be held November 4th through 6th, 2016 at the Daytona Beach Resort and Convention Center. If you want to find out more about it, go to DaytonaMagic.com. I'll tell you, Harry Allen and Irv Cook have been putting this on for 16 straight years, and it's a wonderful, wonderful event. Make sure you sign up November 4th through 6th. If you need any information on hotels or anything that can help you with that too, you can call 1-800-346-2442.
This program was paid for by its sponsor, which is solely responsible for its content and the views expressed. WELE, Ormond Beach, 1380, The Cat.
Welcome back. Tough Times with the homeless teacher and Mia. You're not saying much tonight. I'm being kind of radical tonight, aren't I?
You're behaving somewhat.
Somewhat. Am I getting out of line yet?
Believe me, I'll tell you when you do.
Yeah, I know you will. That's what we have Mia here for. And if you haven't heard Mia go off on me, hang around. Hey, we're being joined right now by Miss Linda McIntyre, the Volusia County Council District 4 candidate. Stop that, Harold. We're talking about a county. What's the matter with you, B? Gosh, these guys have too much fun with my show. I got to stop that, Mia. But anyway, we're joined by Linda McIntyre. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, no, glad to have you here. So, Linda, tell us a little bit about why you're running for county council.
Well, there's a lot of issues that I feel need to be dealt with, and they need to be dealt with new eyes and not by politicians that can only look at it in a political sense. So I decided, yes, I have no political experience, but I'm a successful businesswoman, and I'm an intelligent human being, and I can do the math.
Wait a minute. No. That immediately disqualifies you.
I've been told that by some of my opponents already.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was very rude. I apologize.
I've been told that, but I believe until what I like to call the average citizen steps up to the plate, it's not going to get better. So I decided to step up to the plate and see what happens. And one of the reasons I stepped up to the plate, though I was told by political consultants to stay away from it, was to stay away from the homeless issue. But if you go to my website for my campaign, you will notice that is one of the 4 biggies on what I am hoping to work towards if I am elected to the council.
Well, I hate to tell you, I'm a geek, so I have been to your website and I did read it all because that's just the idiot that I am. I'm not even OCD, I'm CDO because OCD's out of order. I read every bit of it, and I have to tell you that you are officially the first candidate to join us, so thank you for doing that. Tell us what you think of the current plan in Volusia County for homelessness.
I don't think there really is one. I think that's the problem. I think that we have several organizations, some run better than others, but we have several organizations here that are doing a pretty good or a really good job on a certain segment of the homeless.
Okay.
But there are other segments of the homeless that are getting left to the side because the programs aren't there to cover them. And this is a big problem, and another big problem is that unfortunately a lot of people feel that they have the one size fits all solution to this, and I personally don't believe there's a one size fits all. I think when you're dealing with different demographics of homeless people, why they're homeless, whether it's job loss, physical illness, mental illness, drug addiction, they all have to be approached differently to have a success rate within those demographics. And that's where I think we need to be able to sit down at the table and sometimes agree to disagree so that the people that are really good at helping one certain demographic of the homeless, why reinvent the wheel? Let's help them do it.
And I have to ask you about that. What do you mean by certain demographics? Because I'm not quite following that part.
Okay. We had a huge homeless vet issue. Mm-hmm. Not so much anymore because
we're at functional zero, to be truthful.
Exactly.
And as a matter of fact, Volusia County and Flagler County were the first two counties in Florida to end veteran homelessness to functional zero, as certified by Housing and Urban Development in Washington, D.C.
Right. Michael Cornell has done an amazing job with that program.
Oh, my God.
So if we have any more homeless vets come up, then I think they should be pushed to him because he clearly knows how to fix it.
And that does happen because the vets were lucky. We have HUD-VASH money that comes from the VA that Mike actually administrates. Mr. Cornell, he's the SSVF coordinator he runs that program. So that will happen. I will tell you that the thing that really bothers me is we have a very successful bridge bed program that's currently going that the city's getting ready to shut down. The most successful program I've ever seen in Volusia County in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I'm not fully understanding why the program's being shut down. I have been told there are some legal issues with keeping it going due to zoning issues. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't been able to dig into it far enough to find out yet.
Now, I understand that. What kind of digging have you done?
In regards to the homeless?
Yes, and in regards to, I mean, you obviously are learned about what we're talking about here, so.
Well, I actually got interested probably about 9-10 months ago as I started reading different things on Facebook and with organizations feeding the homeless and so on and so forth. So I started making phone calls and asking questions, and I called the Salvation Army and said, can I come down and talk to you? Tell me what you're doing.
How did that work out for you when you went down and did that?
They were awesome.
Wow.
They were absolutely...
Have you done that with any other organizations?
I have done that with some other organizations. I had a very long meeting with Hum yesterday.
How did that go?
Actually, I found it to be a very positive experience.
Awesome.
I tried to go in with a very neutral mindset. I am one about finding the facts. And
okay, now wait a minute. You're double talking on me. Did Hum give you all the data you asked?
They gave me 90% of what I asked for.
Will you share it?
I can't until next week.
Oh.
What I will tell you is the data is coming, and it will be coming with the signature of a certified CPA on the bottom of it for accuracy.
Well, okay, we'll get more to that here, but we have our most the segment that I enjoy the most, and if you don't listen to our show every week, we have Chico and Debbie Jimenez in studio, and Chico and Debbie usually call in. Well, sometimes they call in, sometimes they come in with one of the folks, one of the other citizens of Daytona Beach. And who are we joined by tonight, Debbie?
Greg Hancock.
Greg Hancock. I don't think her mic's on there, Harold. Greg Hancock. Greg, how are you?
Doing fine, thanks.
And meet the county commission candidate, Miss Linda McIntyre. Oh, you guys all know each other.
Hello.
Very nice to meet you.
So, Greg, thank you for joining us. Why are you here tonight?
Well, Chico Debbie invited me to speak tonight. I was formerly homeless.
Awesome. I like the formerly part.
Formerly homeless. Recently moved into a place in New Smyrna Beach last Thursday, and back on my feet after approximately 6 months of being homeless.
I have to tell you, when I saw you in the parking lot, I knew you from somewhere, and I think, was it the Wall?
That's where I lived, was at the Wall.
So we have a gentleman in our studio today that was actually part of the people that were sleeping outside of the tag office.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
So how did you move from there to being homed?
Well, I was standing out in the parking lot one day, a lot of activity, news cameras and media down there, and met a gentleman while I was standing in the parking lot observing the scene, Mike Cornell with the Salvation Army, and introduced myself, and he didn't know I was homeless, and I was like, wow, this is quite a scene we have here, isn't it? And then found out more about who he was, etc. And he started telling me about the new Bridge Crisis Program they were starting to develop at the Salvation Army, so I was all over that like glue.
Yeah.
And I kept up with Mike, went and visited him in his office one day, sat down, had a nice chat. Still didn't know I was homeless. I was like, what can I do to advocate for the homeless? I was a big homeless advocate at the Virginia Beach Oceanfront before I moved down here. Never thought it was going to happen to me.
Well, everybody that I meet on the street says that. That's not anything new. And nobody thinks it's going to happen to them. See, all these guys that are in their big glass palaces don't understand. I meet people that are rocket scientists, robot builders, people with masters, doctorates. It can happen to anybody. And you're living proof. But congratulations on, working your way out of that situation. What was the secret? We all over the country, we try to help people, but what was the secret for you?
Well, I think, when the Bridge Crisis Program finally developed, I'd heard about it. I was there the very first day of the program, back down at the Wall saying, you need to come up here, see this program. It's not the overnight emergency shelter. This is a good program. Get up here. Of course, the place filled up in no time. I was then able to transfer into the streets team program on March the 1st that Don Georgia runs. That was the real key, was taking advantage of one of the other programs that the Salvation Army had to offer. That was the program that allowed me to get back on my feet, have time to do job searches, turn me on to lots of great community resources. A lot of rules, but all you had to do is follow the rules and you win the game.
Well, I like that. I like to win. Doesn't everybody like
Winning's
to win?
good. It feels good.
Winning feels good. And, I have to say, thank you so much for coming down, Greg. So how did your relationship with Chico and Debbie come about?
They had seen an interview that someone had posted on Facebook, and then they ran into me down at the Wall a couple of nights later and came up to me and said, aren't you that guy that was on that video? And I said, yes, I was. Said, do you mind if we interview you? And I said, sure, no problem. And but they met me just after I cut off all my long hair, so I was tired of that. But that's how I met them.
Well, I want to thank you for coming down here, and it's great to see a success story. Hey, Miss McIntyre, we're going to kind of just go into a big free fall with everybody here, if you don't mind. So what do you think about, here's a success story sitting here. There's a program getting ready to be shut down by the city, which I'm talking about the Salvation Army Bridge Bed program.
I would love to see it continue. but my understanding is it's more of a city-funded thing. I'm not sure how much the county's really helping with that. I don't know how much is coming from private donations, because most of the information I've had from Mr. Cornell has had to do with the VET program and not the Bridge program, so I'm not as familiar with that.
Well, let me fill you in on some figures quickly. It cost $120,000 for the first 90 days and $100,000 for the second 90 days. The city wrote those two checks, but in those two checks, there was $100,000 from Glenn Ritchie and the Business Alliance. So basically, the city has paid $120,000 for 6 months of running the Bridge Bed program, because the other money came from the Business Alliance. Now, that $120,000 has gotten 258 plus people to a permanent situation, and has reduced arrests 71%. We're going to have Chief Chitwood on the show to verify that. And that has saved the city $110,000. So how much did that really cost the city, Miss McIntyre?
$10,000.
Wow. So that's the real facts. And so, but what we're going to do is we're going to spend $5 million to increase family bed size by 2 beds, and to get homeless services out of downtown. Against zoning recommendations, against what Hearst wants to do. That's what we're going to do. And I hope you don't support that. When you get to the county council, what we need is leadership from the county council to bring all these cities together to get a solution. What do you think of that, Greg?
I know they've been working on it for quite some time. I spoke at town hall meetings and in city council meetings right from the get-go. And I wish you the best. Because,
well, I wish her the best. I'm just some radio dude that thinks he knows something. No.
Well, Linda, good luck to you. Let me know what I can do to help.
She's got to do all the heavy lifting.
Whatever I can do to help.
I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning. But the bottom line is I'm willing to learn. And I'm willing to go ask the questions that need to be asked and get the answers and try to find money to fund what's working.
Well,
and
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't think we have that now.
Yes, we're very glad to hear that.
We are very glad to hear that, and we're looking for a champion. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, because you take a chance coming on our show for sure, Miss McIntyre, and we appreciate that. And this is Tom, the homeless teacher. We'll be right back.
If you live in Orlando, go behind the library downtown any Friday night at 5 p.m.
And what you're going to see when you get there is Tim and Liz Hall of the Ephraim Project, along with many, many volunteers, feeding between 300 and 350 people every Friday night at 5 p.m. You can go down there, you can volunteer with Tim and Liz with the Ephraim Project. You can have the most unbelievable meal, because Tim is a chef and he feeds people right. So go down and have a meal. You can also visit their website, theephraimproject.org, and donate through there if you can't make it down to be a volunteer. Tim and Liz Hall, tell them the homeless teacher sent you. This is a charity that's homeless teacher approved.
www.theephraimproject.org. www.theephraimproject.org.
Hey, if you're not aware, the Daytona Beach Festival of Magic, the 16th annual, is going to be held November 4th through 6th, 2016 at the Daytona Beach Resort and Convention Center. If you want to find out more about it, go to DaytonaMagic.com. I'll tell you, Harry Allen and Irv Cook have been putting this on for 16 straight years, and it's a wonderful, wonderful event. Make sure you sign up November 4th through 6th. If you need any information on hotels or anything that can help you with that too, you can call 1-800-346-2442.
This program was paid for by its sponsor, which is solely responsible for its content and the views expressed. WELE, Ormond Beach, 1380, The Cat.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, Mia.
Hey.
We had to kick you out of the studio there for a minute, didn't we? Didn't have enough chairs for everybody. So, Miss McIntyre, what I want to say to end it, and we were talking about it the segment before, is really here's what I want. I don't have anything against Halifax Urban Ministries. I don't have anything against City Rescue Mission in Jacksonville or any of the other agencies that I highlight that I feel are not doing a good job. I don't know what they would be giving you from their CPA, but let me tell you what I do know. I only care about this. How many families did they get out of homelessness last year, and how many families have they gotten out of homelessness this year?
I don't have any figures for this year. They didn't show me any for this year. What I was shown yesterday is they were just compiling their data from March and April, actually, of this year.
What kind of data?
Everything from cost, expenses, families that have been moved, transitioned, families that have incoming, but they didn't have hard numbers. Okay, the numbers that they had from last year varied based on a couple different criterias.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're getting into gobbledygook because I just need the number of families that got out of homelessness. And I'm not asking you for it. I'm telling you what I expect.
Well, here's what I would like to say to you.
Sure.
Give me a week, and I should have those numbers in writing for you.
Great. I just don't understand why it takes an act of God, them getting their attorneys involved, you having to go down. If you are doing the right thing, then you're not hiding what you're doing. You know, that's the way I feel, Commissioner. I'm not angry with you, but I'll tell you, I'm really ticked off that people can hide their stuff and we have to beg to get data when we're giving them $5 million in government money and we want to find out if they're good or not good.
The one thing I will tell you, in looking at the projected budgets and things that I saw yesterday, I do believe, from what I've seen, from what's coming in, what's going out, I do not believe they will be coming back to the taxpayer for additional funds to support Hope Place.
I'm sorry, I don't believe that. Mia, you need to get me down because I'm getting very kind of animated, aren't I?
Yes, you need to just chill.
I'm sorry.
Just
sorry.
chill.
I'm sorry, Commissioner. Excuse me, Commissioner. Linda, we'll say Commissioner candidate. I shouldn't say Commissioner.
Council candidate.
Council. God, I hate that Commissioner Council stuff between this. You know, they are commissioners here, but it's the Daytona Beach City Council, and over there they're council people, and it's the commission. It's the most ridiculous crap. We could use the same verbiage, but anyway.
Well, it's to confuse the public.
It is. And speaking of confusing the public, can I ask you just point blank, why will nobody in the community have, I don't want a debate, I want a public information meeting. In other words, why can't we get everybody in a room and have all the players there so the public can ask the questions that, you know, they want to ask, not be told what's going to happen, not, you know, you go to a council meeting or a commission meeting, either one, and what ends up happening is you say your 2 minutes, nobody answers your questions, no information's exchanged, and they do what the heck they want.
This is one of the biggest, if you go on and you read my website, this is one of my biggest gripes with the county council. And part of the problem with the county council is because the time of day in which it's held, most people that work a daytime job don't even have the opportunity to attend these things.
And I go there at 8:30 and there's 2 councilmen there during public participation, and I wish we had more time, Miss McIntyre, but B's throwing things at me and I got to cut you off. I hope you'll join us again, though.
I would be more than happy to come back.
I have to tell you, if you're in the audience and you're listening in Vero Beach, thank you for joining us. This is your first show, but we'll be on there from now on. And please join us. Make sure you go to our Facebook page, Homeless Teacher Tough Times Radio. Also, make sure you join us next week because we have ACLU staff attorney Adam Tabruge from the state of Florida. And then on the 14th, we have Lloyd Pendleton, director of Utah's Homeless Task Force. This is Tom Redman, the homeless teacher. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm out.